Alright then, let's get going. We are live. I'm really hoping that this is going to pick up my game. There we go, sorted. Fantastic stuff. Right then, I've messed about with the settings, so hopefully we're all good to go on the YouTube side of things this time. We won't actually have any issues with... It's saying excellent at the moment, so I guess we'll keep an eye on that one. That saying it is recommending I need to do my audio, which is a bit of a shame, but that's fine. Wall Crusher, I don't know if we've got time, have we? It's going to be couldn't it very, very shortly. I must admit, I keep forgetting about Wall Crusher. it's one of those, it's like I'll still be playing like during the hour or something like that, and it would just completely pass me by. How's everything going your ways then, Boo Box? I probably missed it, I assume. Because normally bang on the 5 minutes that door... Yeah, that door opens. That's fine. Can't do it on the bike. No change breach tracking jail. Fair enough. Yeah, I must admit I didn't actually have that much... Didn't have that much blue goop to go around for this weekend that's just gone in terms of the event. I didn't actually get to do too much. I think there's one more weekend if I remember right, isn't there? Trying to think, what can I use? SMA 4 because he's not level 18. Do I want to put a few more? Yeah, I want to put some random catalysts into him, so where's an XP booster when you need it? That'll do. E1, how's it going? Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. I mean, yeah, how's your Monday currently treating you? Hope you don't mind me calling you E1. It might take me the best part of half an hour to pronounce all the username, if that's okay. If you prefer me to call you something else, by all means, please let me know. Let's see how this gets on. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm supposed to be playing the cooldown version. That's fine. Yeah, this isn't the right one. Saying that, it was absolutely fine. I've got to break through you, haven't I? Yep. God, the secret gun is awful for shooting. Boom. Oh, okay. Do you know what? I have not used SMO inside of Axiom before. That's a lot of fun. No, that one didn't reach. Oh well. No, that doesn't reach. Do you know what? I might have to take him out more often at this rate. I've been giving him a bad rap for all this time. There's so many other things I could be doing, absolutely. I don't mind Crater. I don't think it's a bad one. I feel like it's fine, like, platforming-wise. Like, there's not too many walls, like, too many... It's not like I've got to do, like, for example, this mission up here where I've got to run around so many different sections just to be able to get to an end thing. It's all just kind of, like, confided in one location. I'm not going to say it's like the best mission or anything like that, but it's definitely not the worst one that's out there. Wow, fair enough. DB Phoenix, how am I doing? Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. How about yourself? How's everything over your way? It's been a little while. We haven't actually kept in touch too much recently, have we? Yeah, when it comes to like the Axiom missions and all that kind of thing, I must admit, this one takes way too long. It feels like even though it's in like a small area, it just feels like it takes an absolute age to be able to get through. Axe Converter, yeah, that's probably the best one, obviously for the majority of like Inez and all that kind of stuff, by all means. Sealed, it's just like a slog, really, just to be able to get all the way through. Don't really care for Axe Vaults there, don't really care for Axe Refinery. And I do like technical research, but just one of those. So, there's a few missions that I do really enjoy, some that I don't really care for. But yeah, absolutely, I probably could be actually finishing off some of these missions and get my rewards. But now that I know that SMO can actually hold his own, I'm half tempted to just be able to give that a go. Possibles here, how's my evening going? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, technically it's only just started, but no, everything's all good this end. How about over your way? How's everything going? Yeah, I'm already at cooldown cap, so actually that's not too bad. Actually, that's going to be a better slot in, isn't it? Yeah, that's going to be a better slot in. But we don't have the slot, that's why. Unless I take that off, move that there, and then put that in there. There we go. Sound? Right, let's try it on one of the easier ones first. Because I must admit, I've not took SMO into any of these missions, so I don't actually know how he performs. So, we're about to learn. How's the grind going for everyone at the moment, then? That's what's everyone currently up to? Is everyone looking forward to Sharon's rework and everything like that? I mean, if it's anything to go off of the last few reworks, Sharon's going to be absolutely busted and going to be the next meta. Okay. Huh. Hmm. I think everyone's been sleeping on us. What's going on here? He's doing better than I thought he was going to do, at the very least, anyway. Fair enough. I can't complain. Let's put that up. Get that going. Oh god. Fair enough. Trying to hand myself with a Sigma farm. What are you farming in Sigma? What's the oh, that's the wrong way. What's the current farming situation in Sigma at the moment? So have a look what else we got. Not sure if you used Blood and Iron Glade after they did the last patch, but her range height seems to be further reduced. Oh, okay, interesting. Which is weird because I don't think they mentioned anything about that in the patch notes, did they? No, admittedly, I've not used not properly since I did my video. I've used her a little bit, but not a huge amount. Actually, that's the point. Hold on, didn't I suppose skill 3 stack up to 3? Why has it now gone down to 2? I could have sworn it went up to 3. I might missed a random patch though. Strange. Or is it maybe maybe it's just the normal red mod that I go for. Maybe one of the 3 SMO mains can actually tell me. Can't find a single health orb to save my life. There we go. There we go. Honestly, I think if they speed up his animations, he's actually in a decent kind of spot. stack up 7. Well then. I survived. Oh, survived that as well. This is going to be like 6 minutes. I mean, it's not the fastest, but damn, it feels a little bit satisfying to pull that one off. Yeah, we can have a look at Blood and Iron Glade. To be fair, we can have a look as to what's going on with there. But no, I don't think I was aware of anything like that. As for Busukata, thanks so much for stopping by with the stream and everything like that. Hope you're well. Sharon Wheeler down. I wanted to make my Sharon build at the weekend. Guess I'm going to have to delay that. Yeah, so we don't actually know what's actually coming for the 12th of March patch. I'm pretty sure I've seen an image somewhere. 1 second. Probably got it around somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So let me pop it up on screen. Lost the screenshot. There we go. So, yeah, so just a quick reminder, here's what's coming. We're going to have 2 swords, but I think it's going to be 1 actual sword. It's just going to be dual-wielding swords. So we're going to be able to see what that's going to be dealing. Is that going to be better than Shadow? You know, time will actually tell on that. Get a brand new infiltration operation, so we're going to be probably getting even more... It's either going to be even more chances at Ancestor mods, or it's just going to be purely just to be able to get these brand new mods here, as well as the materials to make these brand new weapons. Keelan's getting his new Transcendence mods. Not much kind of given away with that, to be fair. I imagine this is probably just going to be boosting up his speed, if anything, just like casually. I would be surprised if there's some kind of like mod that maybe changes his dashes, potentially. That could be interesting. And then this one, to me, looks like he might be getting some kind of sword melee kind of rework. I know that's like the energy blade that he has on his wrist. But the fact that they're kind of highlighting that kind of suggests to me that maybe we'll get something like that. If not, it's going to be a brand new skill. And then Sharon's going to get a brand new monthly balance. It's either going to be absolutely fantastic or it's going to be absolutely dog shit. It's one. There's no middle ground. It's one of the two. I guess we'll see. Weapon balance is an interesting one. So I'll come back to that one. Ice Maiden coming back, which is kind of cool. Ice Maiden was one of the first Abyss fights that I really, really enjoyed in this game, because you got rewarded for breaking weak points with all the skill power buffs, so you had to have a weapon at the same time as being able to deal with skills, so it kind of rewarded you for having a little bit of a in-between kind of deal going on there. So I do think Ice Maiden coming back, even though the cosmetics were a little bit hit and miss, I do like that fight, so I'm glad to see that one's coming back. Stat display improv, great. Mission board, which is going to be the new way that we're getting our gold. New events, new skins, which a lot of people are kind of looking forward to. The assassin ones are kind of cool. Not too fussed about what the premium skin contest kind of ones were, apart from the mechanical dog. But that's just a me thing. That's just a personal preference thing. But you know, they're still kind of look cool. But is what it is. And then going back to the weapon balance now. Wave of Light absolutely does need something, because it feels like it's been teetering on the verge of actually being usable for the crit on reload, but it's just really kind of clunky to be able to actually get that to proc. But it is quite a strong gun in that like 2-second window where you have crits, which means that you can't extend it, you can't abuse it with Glay, you can't really kind of get away with it too much with Serena, I guess. Impact rounds tend to suffer a little bit in that kind of aspect as well. It is a bit of a shame, but it'll be interesting to see what they actually do with that. But Kingsguard Lance is a very, very strange one to actually get a weapon balance as far as I'm concerned. Because it's pretty usable in its current state. The main reason that people use Kingsguard Lance right now, if we swap back to game, we can talk about it a little bit more over there. Let's go find... Do I still have my King's Iron Lance in my inventory? Yes, I do. So while it doesn't have the best DPS on paper in terms of like this stat right here, especially when you compare it to something like... I know the melee weapons aren't the best, but Shadow, Restored Relic, you know, all that kind of stuff. The reason why Kingsguard Lance was fantastic was the fact that it was just pure area denial, and it was really, really good at being able to kind of like do that. It was also really good at being able to constantly reset hyperfocus for a multitude of builds. So you built it into fire rate, you built it into crits, you built it into reloads, just to be able to... It's almost like a stat stick kind of thing. But the main thing is that you had edging shot on there, you had your better insight to be able to get your more consistent critical hits. It was never like fantastic in terms of like rate or anything like that, but 20% is pretty good considering how quickly this was shooting from all of the turrets. And you would essentially just constantly have these turrets placed down around a boss, around a group of enemies. It would do mobbing really, really well because it didn't really have an upper limit as to how many targets it could hit at the same time. But when it went to use against like an abyss fight, you could use this to be able to constantly keep a beam on an abyss boss in this case. Eventually it will crit, and because it's firing so fast that it will essentially get that crit before you're going to be landing your skill. So it was just really good at being able to proc that. Kingsguard Lance was one of my favourites to use on Viessa, so you could actually use hyperfocus for mobbing. But then they took away the enhanced focus rounds inside the weapon category, which is a bit of a shame because that was actually really good at being able to apply 24% debuff to every single enemy that was nearby. So it's kind of curious as to what this is actually going to go for. I mean, what do you really need it to do, I suppose? You know, they probably will change its unique ability a little bit. I mean, they could probably up this a little bit, granted. I mean, you could probably get rid of the ammo cost upon installation. Maybe that's just like the clunkiness that's behind it, but maybe increase its range. But like I said, by all means, in terms of what this gun can actually do, it's already pretty unique. And what it does is already really, really damn good. So there's no real need to kind of touch it too much, at least in my personal opinion anyway. It has a use, it has a niche. You don't necessarily need to do too much about it. But if I was going to choose something, I probably would get rid of that purple core that exists at the very bottom. I mean, I've yet to meet anyone that actually uses it for the purple cores for anything in this game. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I personally really enjoy what the Kingsguard Lance can currently do. So I'm not too sure what they're actually gonna change about it. It'd be interesting. I mean, has anyone got any thoughts as to what they'd like to see with the Kingsguard Lance get changed on the 12th? So we got Wave of Light. Do I have that in my inventory? Yeah, I do. There we go. I don't have this fully built up. I set myself to actually start doing it, but I don't think I ever finished it. But it's a cool looking gun. But yeah, the fact that it goes into 0 recoil and then gets 100% critical hit rate, so you never have to build into critical hit with this gun in terms of like building up its rate. It's not bad stat-wise, if I remember right. I mean, crit damage times 1.8, that's pretty good. Weak point it could probably benefit from going into, similar to like how the hand cannons have like a ridiculous weak points multiplier, that would be pretty good. But outside of that, that's essentially all it is. I mean, you could boost its standard effect here, maybe its standard damage, but yeah, it's a difficult one, because I feel like if they tune this a bit too much, it easily overtakes everything else that we kind of have in the game right now. I mean, if we compare it to the main weapon, which is Blue Beetle, I probably would build this into fire rate now. Yeah, potentially take off that fire attack and change it into fire rate just to be able to try and keep up. But it kind of sucks that... Actually, you probably don't need the recoil on there either way. But still, Blue Beetle's got so much going for it in the fact that it can be used as a stat stick, it can be used as a firearm because of the number of cores that it has. The fact that it can go into firearm attack base, it can go into electric attack, it can go into fire rate, and then gives you a free option to be able to boost up its viability in whatever direction you want it in. Whereas Wave of Light has got just your base attack, You've got your green for your fire rate, and then you've got a yellow and a purple, and it just kind of suffers because of that. So unless they change the cores, it's never really going to kind of keep up with Blue Beetle. It would be interesting if they gave it a red core, because that would obviously allow us to be able to boost up its crit damage a little bit further, and I'd like to see what that kind of did in line. But I guess we'll see. And well, you know, they've clearly got some kind of idea in the background as to what they kind of want to do with that one. So booster cats, well, I guess I'm going to have to do my Serena, then do Sharon after the patch. Yeah, it's probably best. I mean, Sharon's 10 days out now, so not too long. I mean, you could still absolutely build into her. She's not, like, the best right now, but she does have a couple of things that kind of go for her. I mean, if you get a good enough Ancestor mod, you can still go for like an area suppression build. That will help you with mobbing inside of Axion. I probably wouldn't push it outside of that. I have seen some really miserable clips of going into like underwater base or something like that with this, and it just kind of tickles compared to like Dire just absolutely like smashing every single bit of the content. But you can get away with a couple of things. It just depends on the content that you're trying to run. But you know, you've got your ambushed to be able to help you out with going for like cut off beam. Suppression is probably your best one currently right now, just to be able to help her out with mobbing. You do have your battlesuit melting rounds. I haven't fully built this one up. This was just purely just to be able to test when in the early days of Warcrasher. But people were using this to be able to make it so much easier to be able to take down Warcrasher, because it's a really good debuff to be able to apply. She does have a couple of things going for her, but yeah, I think I probably would, if you're a little bit short on catalysts and you've not built her up before, then I probably would wait until the patch comes out, so we actually know what direction we need to be going in. But she absolutely has like one of the best skins that this game has ever seen. I love this skin so far; it's so good. Which is funny because I absolutely loved this one before. I think Sharon gets the best kind of outfit. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see what they're going to be cooking up, and then kind of take it from there. Best thing they could do is allow turrets to remain after swapping your gun. Absolutely. I mean, I get it's a little bit tricky for them to be able to balance that one, because you would be essentially, you wouldn't be keeping the gun out to be able to do that. So you would never. So, like, the idea behind all the guns that they've got so far is the idea that you would keep this in your hands. So, for example, with stat sticks like E-Buster and all that kind of thing, it's not necessarily a really good gun, but you would be keeping it in your hands to be able to boost up your skill power. You know, similar to, like, Divine Punishments buffs and all that kind of thing. They expect it so that you get everything, and the trade-off of that is that it isn't as lethal when it's in your hands. And I think if they went the opposite with that with Kingsguard Lance and they made it so that the lances stayed, it probably would be... Because this would just essentially just give you extra DPS to everything. You would go from this to... what are we talking? Like Hammer and Anvil? Just for argument's sake. So you would start with this, you'd start a fight, you'd place your 3 turrets out, and then you'd instantly swap over to Hammer and Anvil, and you'd never need to go back to your Kingsguard Lance because of the default duration until you then moved on to another location. And it's just free DPS, and I don't know if they necessarily want to be able to do that, but I do agree it's not a bad shout, but as for whether they'll go that route, that's the only thing I think that's probably stopping them, which is why they included it to be able to be taken away in the first place, so... I don't know. I mean, I'd be down for it. Absolutely, I'd be down for it. I mean, like I said, you know, heck, free DPS. You can imagine Serena popping down 3 of these and then swapping over to like an Ancient Knight or a Blue Beetle or, you know, Hammer and Anvil, anything along those kind of lines, and she'd just be wrecking house once again with all this stuff. But you never know. Well, I guess we'll kind of see. I mean, I'd be okay with just like a fire rate increase or a duration increase or a range increase or, you know, just like small little tunes, but we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. Pardon me, excuse me. Mostly just did the build so I have something to do and I get bored. Fair enough. Sure, yeah, kind of like 90 prints. I just need to spam Vessel to get them out. See, now I'm the opposite here, because I actually have so many... I genuinely find it mind-numbing to be able to farm for the Catalyst now. So, I can't actually show it. I have so many of the materials, I just don't have the actual blueprints. And I just can't bring myself to actually go and do them, because it pains me to know that, like earlier today when I was playing on my lunch break and all this kind of thing, um, you know, I ran Fortress. Fortress is like one of the better ones to be able to run with Contagion Freyner, because you get your extra toxic skill power. And I was running through that, and I was getting it in under 2-minute runs, and I was getting 2 of these, which is great, and all that kind of stuff. And I think I must have done like 3 runs, just because I was just like trying to get through it a little bit and make some recordings and all that kind of stuff. And then I opened all 6 of them, and I got 1 catalyst blueprint out of it, and I was just like, great. Fantastic. I feel like there's got to be an easier way to be able to get some of these blueprints sometimes. It's just... With everything else that I kind of like put time-wise into this game, trying to farm these missions just to be able to get blueprints is so mind-numbing, just to me, that I just can't... Some days I just cannot bring myself to do it. And it's a shame, because you actually do get some decent rewards, but for whatever reason I just go... Just can't be bothered. Like, with all the other stuff that there's there to farm, like, I haven't finished my Deus Ex. I need to get another couple of parts for that just to be able to finish that one off. I need to be able to farm more copies of the E-Buster to be able to get that maxed out and everything, and then I'm going back and forth between different builds, and I get it's probably not the same for everyone, but that's the reason behind mine. So, yeah, well. What else we got? Go Ekaty as Deus. Oh, has he actually changed again? Because when I checked the other day, he didn't actually have it. The one thing I hate is that you can only do 1 at a time. I mean, come on, just let us do 10 more. So, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, for the people, I mean, I'm never going to be in that position again for me to worry about that. But for the people that I do know that have like thousands of like blueprints kicking around, absolutely. Is it in the special? Oh, thank God. What else we got in here? Hammer and Anvil? Yeah. That's maxed. Ultimate Glay? Wow. That's real easy to get Ultimate Glay for most people. Fair. I think I only need the 2 parts if I remember right. So I could probably just get that smashed out. Where are you? Deus Ex. I probably missed it. There it is. Oh, I only need the 1. I literally just need the 1 part. It just keeps evading me. Yeah, we can do 5 fights just to be able to smash that out. That's easy enough. Sure. Nope, wrong person. What am I supposed to do? It's just hard intercepts. Yeah, it's fine. We can go back to our good old punching bag. The only reason I have so much is because after like my 1.5 year break, I had like 500 Morphus, and I saw you can open. Yeah, God, the amount of times I had to do it through them at the Colossi fights, and you only had opened 1. Then you had to go to... It was loading screen simulator at one point. It just... You cleared the fight so blooming quickly. Ah, well. The good old days, eh? I wish I could see what fire rate that is. That's 1. We'll get the boring stuff out of the way. Gonna farm Infernal Walker for a bit and then come around again later? Absolutely, feel free. Yeah. In that case, I'll catch you in a little bit then, Kata. Good farming, and hopefully you get some jackpots. So, are people more excited for when the 12th of March patch drops? Then, are people looking forward to Sharon getting their rework, or are they looking forward to Keelan's new red mods? What's the general consensus? What are people looking forward to, or are they looking forward to the new swords? I mean, swords at the moment are pretty crazy. Probably also will put it out there that if anyone's currently after any ancestor mods, because I do have a bit of a surplus just kind of like kicking around, that I'm willing to let go for cheap. You know, we've got like a bunch of things for all different kind of descendants. Let me know. I'm more than happy to show what I do have on stream, and I'm sure we can sort out a few trades if anyone needs any help, if they need some mods to be able to actually run in their stuff as well. Exalted Pandas, hopefully Keenan's good. Yeah, I mean, Keenan was always one of those that was quite fun at the start, and then just kind of like fell off a little bit after they realised that maintaining cooldown is an absolute pain in the arse. Just the one more. I would rather do this than just keep running. And keep running medium void vessel, or whatever it's called. Just be able to get this last part. See, I'm gonna give me a second. I might butcher this. I'm gonna try my best though. See, Viniciusum. I'm gonna try that one more time. See Viniciusum. No, that was awful. See Viniciusum. Hello, I vote for Ultimate VS's Hypothermia, but I might have to give you a nickname at this point. I might call you Vinny. Call you Vinny. How's it going, Vinny? Thanks so much for stopping by. Hypothermia builds. Now, yeah, that's do you know what? I was actually messing about with that one time, so now that we've got the boring stuff out of the way, yeah, let's dive into a hypothermia build. Let's have a bit of a look. Legendary AL's here. That says a weird guy with Song's voice on my screen. Yeah, well, we don't know who that guy is. You know, he's really good at. He's almost like a VTuber. He's the person that I paid for. I got a designer to make, and he just matches my voice. And every time I speak, it's really clever technology nowadays. But thank you so much for stopping by. How's everything going your way? Right, let's have a look, because I do believe do you know what? I might just make a new loadout, just because I was messing about with something. I don't really want to mess with that one anymore. So I believe if I copy this over and then take that out and then go for hypothermia, and then we go. Now, Infected did work with this because it's all continuous damage, as you can see. But the problem is you don't get the extra bonus at the end, and I'm pretty sure you don't get the extra yellow mod either. Skill hit against. I could be wrong, actually. I could be wrong. Yeah. Sure, we could mess about with that, I think. And we could probably get that put on there as well. Question is... I'm a little bit short there. In cooldown. Why am I a little short in cooldown? Ah. So if I go that route, what does that get me to? It's a little bit there. It becomes a fusion, singular, but that's fusion, so that allows me to be able to get away with good old Blue Beetle. So fusion will trigger that, so I just need to remember to mix that in, so that's fine. So So that should get me to close to 100% crit. And we're triggering that every... We kind of want to go for singular, because if we can get Ice Needle to proc a little bit more, probably would take off skill extension to go singular. If I go that way, then I could probably go that route instead. Depending on what my range is. What's my range? No, range is a bit short. What am I missing if I do that? Is that all we're missing cooldown wise? Yeah, that's a pain. I'll go that route. That way I don't need any extra range. Got my cooldown that I need. What do I need then? I suppose I could go for the extra mod that goes for here. We could probably try that out. How do I get one of you free? That's fine. Yeah, we could try that out. I must admit though, that's... What do I want for this? I probably want... because that's singular. Singular is going to be our damage over time. I think I might need a singular reactor, to be fair. So I could probably go for something like that. Because it's not absolute zero. Yeah, absolutely. Phenossi's here. Hello, YouTube. How's everything going there? I appreciate you stopping by. How's your Monday been? How's your weekend been? Have you been up to anything interesting? Question is, do I want Hunter? Because I feel like I could probably apply the damage over time. How does this apply? 3 on continuous, 4 on burst. No, I probably don't need Hunter. The reason why Hunter was on here is because of a preset. So I was messing about with Cold Watch Zone for the Abyss fight. I was just trying to see what could be done there. Slayer's normally the go-to. But Bravery could be cool, but then saying that, we're probably fine cooldown wise. I don't. Yeah, what? Could mess about with this. I don't like the fact that. Probably better. That gets me there. That gets me my... That, swap this to... That. That'll cap me out. Then... I like the idea of Infection Amplifier because this genuinely does do such a huge amount of damage. If you put this on Contagion Frainer, this out-damages the actual damage of the dots that you apply. It's such a good mod for infected weapons, so I kind of want to keep that on there. Ranges has to be in there. Crit mods have to be in there. Increased HP is probably the flex spot, but I feel like with it being a little bit on the squishy side, if I take that off, I think I'm going to be 7k. Yeah, it's not a huge amount. You probably could get away with... because we've got no extra duration on here, so we could go stamina. That'll put us up to 10. That's fine. That will give us an extra tick on the cast of the 4. It basically looks very, very similar to what Glacial is. But obviously, if you come against like a strong target, then Hypothermia is going to be hitting the most. So we've got our focus on chill. Got our extra skill power here, which is going to be opening up our skill power buckets. Got our cooldown, got our crit. We've got our arcade tuning, which is going into crit rate and crit damage. But admittedly, no, we can't go the other way. Yeah, can't go the other way because we haven't got the cooldown node, so that's fine. Might go cost instead of that. Because we've already got those rolls on our component pieces, so we're fine there. Relatively fine. I'll probably give that a go. Do you know what? I'll even save that over Frostlinks. And we can see what kind of damage this is doing. In terms of this, range is going to help us get close to cap. Selective Neuro is pretty damn good. But I'm half tempted to swap it with this one because I must admit I'm really enjoying Enhanced Regeneration at the moment. There we go. Alright, where are we up to? If you're bold, then Bravery set, otherwise Polar Knight, because the 3 components with HP and use HP module. I must admit, I don't really care too much for Polar Knight as a set, because I really hate the fact that as a 4-piece you have downtime and it doesn't do anything for you. As soon as you go into a fight cold, whereas Slayer set is already giving you a benefit. So I must admit, I do prefer Slayer over Polar Knight. That said, Polar Knight does give you pretty good HP, but if you can get around HP anyway, I mean, at 10k we're all fine, then that'll be fine. I see SO, are you excited for the 2 new Transcendence mods for Keelan? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been looking for new ways to be able to enjoy Keelan, but he does feel like a little bit of a one-trick pony as it currently stands. So I'm really hoping that he brings some kind of like new feel to the table. I kind of feel like he does need a little bit of a boost anyway. Even if it's something as simple as knocking off 5 seconds off of his max cooldown on his dash, and giving him a little bit of range, because that would allow you to essentially just consistently keep replenishing your dashes rather than having a little bit of a downtime in between. But you know, it is what it is. I do hope that they give him a mod that makes him crit based, because I feel like he absolutely deserves to go crit based, as like some kind of like dash fast assassin kind of character. So hopefully we get something along those lines. That would be pretty cool. Just came from the gym, talked to one baddie, so that's a win for me. Fair enough. Nice work. Yeah, perfect. I already have enough damage. Is there a tuning mutant cell for the range? So the range is the Arcade Concentration, which is going to be one of the best in slots for VSA builds just in general. As long as you can go into crit, which we can do. Fortunately, because of this Ancestor mod to be able to boost our crit rate up a little bit further, you probably don't need as much as that, to be completely honest. And if you didn't have one of these, I'd need to double check what the figures are, but you could probably swap Frontlines to Emergency Measures, and then Blue Beetle will then help you be able to hit cap. I think she's around 20%, if I remember right, her base rate. Am I thinking correctly for that? Because if it's 20%, then you would need 400% total crit rate. So we've got 143 there, we've got 141 there. That takes it up to about, what, 284-ish. We've got the extra 32 there, puts it up to 310, 311, 312. And then Blue Beetle's then going to be triggering to give us the extra 100%. So we'll actually hit crit cap with this kind of side of things. So yeah, yeah, that makes sense. If you're near max range, the extra damage will with having. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if you can get away with it on pretty much it, well, if you get the right Ancestor mod, you absolutely can go into crit with VSR across every single build. Which is why Glacial Cloud is so fun to be able to rock. But Arcade Concentration is better than Steady Hands. Steady Hands requires you to be able to put Frostbite. Not all of her skills applies Frostbite. Only Absolute Zero consistently puts Frostbite out there. And even then, that requires you to then two-hit the enemy to be able to do that, because you have to apply the frostbite to then hit them with a skill critical to get that extra damage. And in most cases with Viessa, she's able to one-shot most things. It's only like elite that she's able to consistently do this to. So therefore, with Arcade Concentration, you're actually constantly stacking this up, even if it's a one-shot, because it applies the debuff when you actually kill them. And this goes up to 37.5, so you're only missing out on 2.5% extra critical hit damage. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but yeah, I think we can... No, we'll keep it there for a movement stat stick, to be fair. But yeah, so I'm thinking something along these lines. We should probably test this out. Let's give it a go in... Hypothermia doesn't have slow. Now, hold on a second. No, it doesn't have slow, but it will apply the damage over times with ice shackles, ice needles. Because that will count as a debuff. Anything that's going to be a red thing on an enemy bar will be a debuff in this case. So ice needle will essentially cover that for ourselves. It's a shame that it doesn't have slow, because I would really love to be able to put relative speed on this, but infected weapon's still pretty sound. You know, extra skill power, as well as all this extra from infected amplifier. But let's give it a go. Go on then. Which one are we recommending? Would you recommend? Let's do a run. So are we doing Supermassive? Are we doing Sanctuary? Or are we doing Underwater Base? I've not tested this before, so I'm happy to go with whatever the chat wants to go with here. So shout one out for me, and we'll go run that one. Underwater Base. Well, that's the first one I've seen. Alright, we'll go in there then. I need to see if I can get some more E-Buster parts and some of the frozen stuff. Please, underwater. There we go. We got a few shouts. Let's go. I mean, it's not bad. Yeah, damage over time's kind of good. I wouldn't say it's like the best, but it's definitely getting work done. Yeah, I can't really complain with that. VS needs more spread. She absolutely does need more spread. It's kind of sad as to how little range she technically gets. It's that being said, though, it does feel like she's. They do need to absolutely buff her max range up to 300%. If they did that, I think that would actually be more than enough. It would change a few different builds for how things kind of like play. But it would essentially... I mean, no, damage over time is pretty good. Because we would have to swap another mod in to be able to go for max range at that point. Oh god, what? I heard all those hit markers. What was that that melted me? Do this. Do that. Do that. It's ticking. Yeah, it's ticking away. I guess we'll see on the final boss as to what we're dealing with. Really like this. This lookout for a dungeon. Yeah, it's absolutely. This is pretty damn good, I will say. That should be enough. Yeah. Yeah, this is absolutely one of the better dungeons, and I like this mechanic to an extent because it requires you to do something about it. Otherwise, you do absolutely get destroyed by that. There we go. I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but 4 minutes ain't too bad. What we'll do is, just for comparison, we will... I believe this is my glacial? Yeah, this is my glacial. So, what we'll do is we'll try this out. This is going to get dangerous, I think. But if I swap this to here and do that, that's going to leave me on 7k HP. Keep that, that's fine, and then restart this mission, and we'll see. Is VS again rebalanced in April, or did I dream it? I do recall that she was going to get some kind of change soon-ish. But it does sound like a few people in the community have mentioned about how, like the, oh wow, I still haven't claimed my blooming TSX part. A few people have mentioned about how the roadmaps were, like, recently changed. Like, to the point that we don't know who the next Ultimate's going to be. Because we initially thought it was going to be SMO, if I remember right, and then now I think we're hearing about Haley. So, in all honesty, I'm not too sure what's going on. You can have that. You can have that. You can have that. Doop-a-doo. Doop-a-doo. Anyone remember what time we did? It was like 4:30 or something like that. Oop. What else we got? You can have 16k max HP without prejudice damage. I mean, that's fair enough. There's definitely customizable ways to be able to make a build. You absolutely can just like drop things to, you know, you don't have to fully build it the way that I currently do or anything like that. Okay, out. Oh, that's a close one. Whoop, whoop. Oh. There we go. Only marginally faster. Okay, that's not too bad. Esmo's in May and Haley in the summer. Oh, weird, because, wait, so who's the next Ultimate then? Because my understanding was we were getting SMO in March. This was the initial roadmap anyway. We were getting SMO in March, and then Haley was going to be in the summer. But it sounds like, I can't recall where I heard it from, but there was definitely some kind of report about how Haley was being brought forward because they feared that SMO wasn't actually going to get enough of like a look in to be able to justify sales, things like that, all that kind of stuff. I could be wrong. I feel like I just can't find any kind of like source as to what that was. But yeah. Esmo is next in season 4. That makes sense. That was my initial understanding, but I could have sworn there was some kind of news that they said they were going to swap Haley round with it. But then they just make stuff up on the roadmap. So absolutely. I mean, it's already gone through a couple of changes by the sounds of things. Just check the roadmap. So it is Haley and Raven. So I have 2 very important questions I feel dumb right now. By all means, Johnny, what have you got? Well, it's, I'm sure there's no dumb questions here. So feel free. What's on your mind? What you got for me? That makes 400% sense. It does. I mean, let's be honest. The women in this game do actually sell a lot better than the males. But I do have a soft spot for SMO. I genuinely would love to see what they would do in an ultimate, because I think he already looks badass. So what are they going to do with his ultimate to make him look even more badass? They did Blair, and Blair with his ultimate looked amazing between the two. So I'd love to see what they're going to do with SMO. But singular boost ratio, is it multiplied with the crit damage? Yeah, so my understanding with the damage formula, now I'm not going to say that I'm an expert, but I do know little bits about it, is when it comes to crit damage is normally at the end of the formula. Well, depending on what you're doing, if it's when it comes to skills, it's normally at the end of the formula, because it will go through your skill power, your chill power, tech power, in the case of it doing a tech ability, and then it will go through your crit damage. So that's my understanding of how the skill power formula goes. So this is why you want multiple different buckets, because all of these are multiplicative of each other. So it will go through that, it will get multiplied by that, and then it will also get multiplied by that. So now it's not going to get multiplied by 0.972, it's going to get multiplied by 1.972. That's just the extra benefit. Like this figure itself is that times that, so it'll be the two of them together. But yes, singular will get thrown in before the crit damage. Yay! Finally get my last one. I can finally make the last one of that, and then eventually I'll have some of the parts for the E-Buster. I feel like E-Buster's one of those parts, yeah. There we go. Yeah, so I've got all the blueprints, I'm going to have that, I'm going to have all of that, and I just essentially need all these synthetic fibres. I'm never going to blooming get it, am I? Should probably put some tracking on that, actually. No further entries can be registered. Well, I don't need you anymore. I still need Shadow, I believe. No, Shadow's done, so I can get rid of there. And now I can put E-Buster on. Oh, come on. No, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Sound. It's like, what does crit harder? Singular ratio with crit damage 95% or singular 207, 122? I feel like we can figure this out. Let me grab an Excel sheet. I'm not going to promise you that I'm the best when it comes to maths, but... So we'll say base, skill power... chill isn't being changed, so we'll keep that as a constant. But then sing crit. For argument's sake, let's say base skill power is 25k. That'll be 1.308 and 1.207. And then what's right? Yeah. Okay. Let's go for 95 and let's go for 122. That'll work out to be 95. That'll work out to be 2.22. Now my understanding is that it will go that times that times that. So just based on those figures alone, the crit will do more. But keep in mind that your crit is going to be part of a bigger formula. So you're not going to just have that as your crit multiplier. It's actually going to be much higher. So let's find out. Because I imagine this is going to be a Haley one. If I go to... What have we got? That's not got any crit on it, so we can go away with that. This is a very long way of me going about answering your question, just saying. We'll put that on there. So our base is 1.4, so it will go through equals times 1.4. Oops. It's more the actual like total stats. To be fair with you there, Johnny. So if I then do that and then go move that over there, I will show this in a second, just so you know. And we have 207.7. Times by 1.4. I could probably show desktop view now. There we go. So the 207.7 that you would get from your crit modules would essentially be 307 because you can't go under 100%, but obviously with those modules you can. It's just it's an additive to what you're already doing. Your 207 is going to be times by your 1.4 because that's your base crit multiplier. So this is going to be a constant for both of them. But this is going to get added to that. Thanks, bye. No, Warren DeVee. Have a good one. It's good to catch you, and I appreciate you stopping by. We'll add that on there. No, that's equals. God damn it. No. There we go. I'm having a fight with Excel. Oh, it's because that's... I've put that in the wrong blooming location, haven't I? It's because it's supposed to go there. Apologies. See, I told you I wasn't going to be the best at this. I was going to cock it up at some point. So as you can see, eventually it will be a case that after you go through all of your crits, the singular is going to start overtaking, because that crit that you've got on your module will eventually... you know, the best way to think about it is singular is going to be base that's going to be chucked into all the multiplier, whereas crit is going to be part of a bigger pool, and eventually that is going to get... you're going to have diminishing returns. The more crits that you eventually have on that, the smaller of an excess that it's going to be giving you. Whereas if you go into singular, or any kind of boost ratio, to be fair, that's going to be kicked into everything because as to where it starts in the formula. So this was just an example. This was just purely based on the numbers that you've given me on your Ancestor, combined with the modules. So we're not even including arcade tuning, we're not even including reactor or anything along those kind of lines. In theory, singular is going to be a bigger... So the one with 308 singular ratio is going to do more damage than the other one that has a higher crit damage. And that's just essentially how the... There's not much in it, to be fair. But essentially that's how it's going to work out. So, if personally, I would go for the singular that has 308 on it. And then we can swap back to the good stuff. I know there was a lot of maths, I know there was a lot of numbers thrown around and all that kind of thing, but that's just to show you that it will offer you more damage in the long run. That's why boost ratios are actually kind of really important now when it comes to Ancestor mods. Yeah, absolutely no problems there at all, Johnny. It's why I've gone for... not on this one, wrong preset. Going for a tech skill power boost ratio and a crit damage on this ultimate Lepic is going to give me much more in terms of damage. Honestly, with crit damage here, because of hyperfocus, that's actually going to be a huge amount. But yeah, there's a lot that you can just kind of like chuck into Ancestor mods. It's insane as to how much skill power you can get. And to be completely honest with you, skill power is going to be one of the best roles that you can actually get inside of Ancestor mods. Obviously, you know, you've got your cooldowns, you've got your crit rate in some cases, kind of enabling other builds, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, going for boost ratios is one of the best ways to actually boost up the amount of damage that you can actually chuck out into any build, any Descendant, anything like that. And if you can get a combination between the two, so your base element as well as your whatever type of skill that you're going to be chucking out, so in this case with Lepic it's tech, obviously Dimension applies to other people, blah 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 blah. As long as you can open up those power buckets as well, you'll do some insane amounts of damage. So second question, why does sometimes my sniper ability have a cooldown of 6 seconds, sometimes 26 seconds? I don't get this. Okay, well, let's have a quick look. Now, I do know that there is something funky. Which type of build are you going on? Sorry, are you talking active camo, or are you talking the other one? Sorry. Because you'll see 26 seconds. I'm trying to see how you got 26 seconds, to be completely honest with you. What else we got? Cold Art. Cold Art doesn't have one. Sure, yeah, by all means, let's take a look. Let's see what mod you. I got you. You got your cooldown there. Yeah, that's fine. Fantastic negative to have as well, because that's not impacting anything on this build. So that's great. You've got your cooldown there. So judging at this, you're going to have your 62% here. You're going to have your 68-ish. You're going to have there. So you're going to still be short by around about 21, 22% on cooldown. You haven't gone that there, so it is still going to be 22%. Found it. There you go. It is that. It is RK circulation tactic. So, because this is only active for 10 seconds and it has a cooldown for 25 seconds, in some cases you're having crit cap. Sorry, not crit cap. Cooldown cap. So you will have it back within. Is it 2 seconds if I remember right? 2.5 seconds. Sometimes you'll have it as 2.5 seconds. The other times you won't have the inversion active, and because it's not active and giving you that 24% cooldown, you've gone back to 68%, and then at which point it's going to be what, like 12 seconds, something along those lines, maybe even 10. So you will notice a massive difference because of that. That's why for spam heavy characters, I wouldn't recommend using RK circulation tactic. It's not luck based. It is purely based on the internal cooldown on this on the inversion. I always forget what this is called, even though the words are there. Because this inversion has a cooldown, you cannot keep reactivating it over. It doesn't have 100% uptime, so you will get that 10 seconds duration of skill cooldown hitting cooldown cap, because that 24% is what you're missing. But then after that, you're going to have a 15-second cooldown, where you're not going to have that buff anymore. It's going to be back to the 68%, and in which case it's going to be a much longer cooldown. And then after those 15 seconds, so that you've now got the full 25 seconds, it'll then be able to re-trigger, and then after that, all of your skills will then go back to being cooldown cap for the next 10 seconds. So it's like, essentially the best way to think about it is you have a 10-second window of max cooldown, which is great, and then you have a 15-second window. I'm pretty sure it works that way. I'm pretty sure it starts from when you trigger it, but then you essentially have a 15-second window where you will be back to slow cooldowns. So if you are looking to go for spam heavy, I would highly recommend building into actual consistent cooldown rather than going for and relying on arcade circulation. You can use this for abyss fights if you want to get this ended in like 10-15 seconds and all that kind of thing, but if you're looking to go through like mobbing missions and everything, would not recommend this whatsoever. You're better off going for like a range, or going for a focus boost, or even just adrenaline surge to be able to boost up your movement speed, even though that's one doesn't have 100% uptime either. Have you tried Cold Heart with Two-Face Trigger? I have not tried that with. To be fair, I didn't even realise it could actually. Oh, it can. It's chained. Oh, I do love me some Two-Face. To be fair, I think it's a really good mod. Especially with the Lucky Coin. Really enjoy this. Because it just does everything for you. It gives you a skill, regardless of which is the result, you're getting skill power and you're getting range. And then you're just getting an added benefit on top of that of either movement speed or skill cost. Yeah, I mean, it's base. Oh, actually, that's base skill power as well. But it does require you to use your wand to be able to trigger that. But as soon as you've got some stacks on it, you're fine. So it's crunchy. I can imagine it is, to be fair. I think for mobbing, I'd probably still go Speed Dominator because it's easier to be able to keep up and everything like that. But I can see that being a really good combination, to be fair. If you're just using Arctic Domination, if you're not bothering with your skill wand whatsoever, yeah, I can see that being a really good combination. Yeah, absolutely. Only did it once for Abyss. I'm trying to get number 1, but I need to understand when it's 6 seconds and when it's 26 seconds. Right, so the... right, okay. So when you're... when you need to be able to prime this mod with a skill that's not going to go straight into cooldown. So, for example, if you're using Haley, you need to prime with your skill 1 or your skill 2. If you're planning to use your skill 4 to do the most of the damage and all that kind of thing. Essentially, the first ability that you cast with this and you hit an enemy, if it instantly goes into cooldown, it doesn't get the benefit. But then any ability that's after that then does get the benefit. So, if you were going Snipe Hunter, for example, with Camo, if you go into this ability and it instantly goes into cooldown, or for example, Storm Snare is a fantastic way to be able to explain this one. If you hit an enemy with this, it instantly goes into cooldown, but it goes into cooldown before the inversion reinforcement can actually trigger, and because of that, you don't get the benefit of the extra like cooldown for it. But what you can do is you can prime with your skill 1, because this does have a low cooldown by itself, and because it's struck an enemy, any skill cast that's after that, because that now buff is with you, you can now get the skill cooldown, if that makes sense. It might be easy for me to be able to kind of like show what I'm talking about in the lab, so give me 2 secs. I hope that makes sense, but that's essentially what I'm talking about. Catus, here's something I wanted to ask on Discord as I was building my Blair. How is it that my flame zones are sometimes capped at 5 and sometimes not? Not used in 4th ability. Are you personally using the... is it next level recipe where the flame zones travel with you? So you're not manually casting them down. You're just purely using the one where the flame zones appear as you start running. Is it that mod by any chance? So let's just get a random enemy. Doesn't matter what they are, to be fair. And then we'll use inversion reinforcement. So yeah. So as you can see, we've got RK circulation tactic put on here. If I go into my 2... Oh, I shouldn't have done that. There we go. So that was... So this... do you know what? I probably should have used it slightly... This is probably the best way to be able to put it, because now I can... 31 seconds. Let's go with that one. So... We'll just wait for it to come back. There we go. So, if I don't really have much cooldown built into this, as you can see, 43.5 seconds. If I hit an enemy with the beam of this, you'll see I'm at 41, 40, 39, 38, all that kind of thing. And we know that that's not triggered because with the cooldown investment into the build, it should have been at 31.6. So that initial hit hasn't gone for that cooldown as well, if that makes sense. So it was starting at 43 and then it was starting to count down rather than the 31. But if you wait for this to come back, I have got it. But if you, let's say you prime with your skill 1, I'll wait for this to come back actually. There we go. But if I hit with my skill 1 and then do this, you'll now see that I'm at 29, 28, 27, all that kind of thing. So because I need to strike an enemy for this buff to then appear, and then every single skill cast that's after that will then get the cooldown buff. So hopefully that gives you an idea as to how to be able to kind of like set that up then. But essentially you need to hit an enemy with a skill first, and then every single skill that's after that will then get the cooldown buff. And then, yes, it's the next level mod, so I can show that one, because I do have that here. So next level recipe with this one, this is something I actually did cover in my initial build guide for this, because I found out that, yeah, it does cap at 5. It doesn't, oh, it says there, max number of creations 5. But that is every single time you have the buff active. It's really weird as to how to explain it without me kind of like showing it. So if you activate your 1, while this is active, on my buff that you can see, which is right next to Pitmaster, so as that counts down, the most flame zones that I can have through this cast is 5. But if I refresh that buff, I still can only have 5 zones, which I do think is a wrong way of being able to go about it, but I have 5 zones. Now, these zones can stay here, but if I activate it after the duration has gone now, as you can see, and I do it again, I can now have up to 10. All this is separate to your fourth, because that will now give me 13. And now that it's gone again, I can now spread another 5. So it's basically all about that debuff that's in between, so where Pitmaster is and what I'm getting from my Truly Deadly Arson. So as soon as that goes away, you can recast it, and then it will allow you to be able to put another 5 zones down. But if you recast it before that buff ends, it will just keep refreshing it, and the most you can ever get is 5 flame zones out of it. It's really finicky, it's really blooming awkward, but that's how it decides it wants to work. But yeah, so essentially that's what we got here. So hopefully that explains as to why that's the case. But you can get up to 6 by obviously casting that and then chucking your 4. And then you're pretty much good to go. And then you just keep an eye on. You can also apply flame zones really, really nicely by being in the air. Especially with like the zipline technique where you just kind of go. So you can just kind of really leave a lot of like a trail of fire behind you. It's really good at being able to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, get it. How do I manage it then? Because I spam 1 and 2 on Abyss directly. It depends on the skill rotation that you're going for. So if we go back to... See, I've not tried Haley on the Abyss fight, but I imagine it'll be something like you start the fight off, you're stacking up your Fury. Whether it's this build or whether it's the other one, you're not using this sniper or anything like that, I don't know, but this would be essentially there. You would, as you're getting close, as it then spawns in, you would prime with your 1. You would then go probably into your 2, prime with your 1 again, and then go into your snipe. I would imagine is the main rotation. But that would allow you to be able to prime for your cooldown. If you do it within such a short window, you'd probably be able to get it back straight over, like pretty quickly. I don't know what the... I can't do it from here anyway. I don't know what the fastest time with Haley is right now, but essentially, yeah, you want to make sure you hit with your first one. You're probably good to go straight away after you've cast your skill 1 to go into like your 2nd or your 4th, because you only need to strike an enemy to be able to get that buff. So as soon as you've struck with your skill 1, you should be good to go with your skill 2. But yes, I would highly recommend that you use your 1 before you use any other skill, just to be able to kind of get that, and then it's just a case of spam the rest of the numbers as fast as possible. What are we looking at? 12 seconds, so yeah, so you're going to be looking at... What are we dealing with? Cyclic makes sense. Let's go for Cold Heart. Yeah, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting Cold Heart. Yeah, Cold Heart wasn't on my list as to what to expect there, but defense neutralization makes sense. Concentration, yeah, that makes sense. What else we got? Has everyone gone? Yeah, everyone's gone Cold Heart. Fair enough. It's great. Oh, it absolutely is, because he has a 40%. What is it? Is 40% crit resistance? Yeah. So, which means that even if you're at cap, you're still only going to be critting 60% of the time, which is kind of crazy. But hey ho, that's the way they want to balance it. But yeah, that's essentially how you managed to pull it off. But hopefully that gives you some kind of insight on that. But yeah, so that'll be the reason why you cooldowns. It's just purely arcade circulation. So can't believe it's been now since we touched SMO. Do I want to boost that up? I probably do, actually. should have the materials for it. Yeah. Go on then. Why not? Let's do even more damage as them. I do wish that you had a better set to be able to use, though. Because I must admit, just using these, so two mages, 2 plague, it kind of sucks. You could go Slayer, but he does tend to run out of MP a little bit quickly. Why does he only get 2 now? I could have sworn he had 3 in that slot before. Which priest slot was it using? 1. Honestly, if he ever becomes crit, I'm going to be laughing. Some of these mods that I've got. Kind of curious, what's he currently got on the market? Attack and fire. There is barely any mods on there. Wow. That's why he really just kind of barely gets anything, doesn't he? No one's really putting anything up on the market for him. That's interesting. Like, you genuinely can count it on one page how many tech and fire ones exist. Interesting. Let's quickly catch what we got going on. Catch up a little bit in Discord, go and spare. We're not going to be cheap. Yeah, I'm not surprised with that, actually. That's anyway, that gets more juicy parts of all if that's got that crit hit rate was changed to a crit hit damage. But that's even if he's still here. Right. Trying to think, what else should we cover? I've got so many blooming mods that I want to see, so. By the way, what weapon is good in Serene? Typhoon's still best in slot? Funnily enough, I don't think it is. The new best in slot is none of these. Hammer and Anvil. And I'm not even joking. Apparently, while I've got mine built up a little bit, my understanding is that Hammer and Anvil in its alternate fire is the current best way to be able to play. You can tell I don't play Serena. Is that ever going to come into case? Probably not. So I heard the Typhoon's still pretty good. Absolutely. But obviously it's kind of limited by its limited by its range in terms of like what's in its window and everything like that. Whereas Hammer and Anvil, it just does not care for that whatsoever. It's just, yeah, it's got tracking. It's got. I don't want to farm that. I'm too lazy. Well, funnily enough, you can actually get yourself a copy from Deslin. No, not Deslin. Eckert. You can go. To be fair, it's been a long time since I've like dusted off Serena. Could give her a go in Axie and just see if we can speed up the Deus Ex. But yeah, if you go HQ Special Orders, you can get... All you need to do is complete a Special Operation Hard Difficulty twice and you get one of these parts. And you can just do it 4 times. That's it. If you're doing Hard Difficulty, I think Spec Ops is the Defend missions, if I remember right, so just slap on Contagion Freyner and take the Eye of the Typhoon with you. And then, yeah, just go to town. Typhoon just be able to pop the shields, and the rest Contagion just basically deals with. So, and then just do it 4 times and you get yourself a free Hammer and Anvil. Might as well. And place 8 now. I need to figure out the delay of 1 before doing 2. I mean that obviously that's the trial and error practice kind of thing of it all. But I mean, heck, place 8 isn't too bad. Not bad at all. There's no one there. Okay. Well, my question is, oh no, she can refill her own ammo, can't she? Yeah. What fella we got? Rounds. That's fine. Duration up, cooldown. $39k. That's fine. What are you? 35k. Can you get the parts only once, or can you farm up until you have it max? You can only do the thing here 4 times, so you can see your tent limit 0 out of 4. We'll go with that instead, 0 out of 4. But you can only get 1 of these rewards each time, so you don't necessarily have to go for 1 of each. You could just go for 4 of a specific one or something like that if you really need to, if you've got some random parts just kicking around. But if you don't have anything to do with it whatsoever, you can literally just get 1 of each, and then that will just kind of give you the gun. The reason why it's so good though is due to its where is it? Anvil effect, where you fire explosive rounds, they travel so far, they airburst, and then they fire guided explosive things based on shell capacity. And you can build up shell capacity pretty nasty with this. I think, what am I currently sitting on? I'm on 15. If you use Unstoppable Smasher, that will go up even higher. I think that goes up to like 18, if I remember right. It's either 17 or 18. And every single one of those are individual pellets that are all going to be triggering redemption, from what I understand. So, yeah, it's one of those. It's pretty damn good. I'll give it that. Don't really care for fire rate. I might just go for the rest of Ascending Armory in all fairness. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, to be fair, you don't, as far as I'm aware, you don't fully need to build this gun because Serena does most of the damage. So the only kind of mods that I would probably recommend are going to be maybe the multi-damage one, Shell Up, absolutely. Unstoppable Smasher, absolutely. Maybe Fire Rate, but you do lose a lot of Fire Rate from swapping over to that thing anyway. But everything else is just a little bit From what I understand, it's a little bit optional, but most of the time, that's pretty much it. Walter's here. Hey, how's everything going there, Walter? It's good to see you stop by. Appreciate you. There we go. 360 slots. I think this is what we're doing, so let me just test this one out. Like I said, it's been a while since I played Serena. I really don't care for a playstyle, but the joys of having a really strong character, eh? Just get that ammo regen. And then whoop, boop, 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 boop. it's boop, boop. Crazy. It's look at that, we've turned the game into even easier mode. There we go. This is what are we up to? 19 shells. So every single one of these just kind of like procking off. It's so silly. The fact that you don't really need to aim anywhere, you can just get away with doing that. But yeah, that's essentially. I don't know if necessarily these. I mean, you know, selective recoveries isn't necessary as much now and all that kind of thing. But I don't know if this is necessarily the right kind of setup. It's been so long since I actually used her, but essentially that's what you need. You just need a way to cooldown to be able to stay in the air. You need enough HP. You need enough cooldown for skill 4. And then you essentially just need a hammer and anvil, and then just build it into multi-hit and shell capacity, and you're pretty much good to go. As long as you've got a way to be able to keep your rounds topped up, that's all you need. So, yeah. That's Serena in a nutshell. Do you know what? Let's Just because I know the Colossus are about to appear. In about a minute. Might as well wait around for it. That's a screenshot. There's the other one. There you are. I don't think I'm going to have my cooldown back in time for this, but hey, take this. I helped. 1,000 insulating nuts. I don't think I've ever seen 1,000 drop before. Jesus. Okay. If I ever want to redo my weapon, my vehicle. Um. Where are they? They're over here. See if they need help finishing this. I turned up and fired one shot. But you're welcome. Don't mind me. Right, let's go to... Let's see what kind of ancestor mods we got kicking around. Ah, well. Still annoying that we've got over a week to go until that next patch. But, I mean, do we have any Sharon mains in the chat right now? Do we have anyone that's actually kind of interested in what Sharon's actually going to be bringing to the table? Oh, an artist resolution. Okay. Let's dismantle some trigger mods. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Oh. Ah, it was almost a perfect roll. Now, it's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now I've probably got better than that. Yeah, do that. It's probably there. Oh, we got some crap here as well. Been hidden. Yeah, get rid of you, get rid of you. Get rid of you. There we are. Have you tried the AoE Lepic with the Blast Zone trigger? Is that... what are you called? Or are you thinking Blazing Zone? Because I have messed about with Blazing Zone. It's actually not too bad. The reason why you don't use it though is because your nades do so much in terms of like skill power, in terms of like modifier, that you actually get much more of a boost from Power Beyond than you would do from Blazing Zone. That said, Blazing Zone is pretty damn good. It does actually take the damage type of your reactor, so if you do ever need to be able to swap things out for whatever reason, essentially Lepic can be multi-element in that case. But personally, I wouldn't recommend it. It's one of those that it's good, but not good enough. And then when you think about it with everything else, for Firearms Master, you absolutely want to go for even more skill power. For Mega Man, where you just purely rely on increased efficiency, while this would be a good one to be able to use with Blazing Zone and all that kind of thing, you kind of want to rely more on your shots with this because you're going to be ramping up the fire rate of it. So therefore, Power Beyond once again kind of takes that. That said, Surging Gravity is actually pretty good if you apply additional fire skill power when you do throw out your Tonade. So if you ever need a little bit of extra damage, you can go for that kind of route, which is actually really, really good. But I do have it on my Sword Gravity Blazing Zone, but I find that's why you can bring all enemies into one area and then just kind of like hit them with the Tonade and all that kind of stuff. Just in the lab, and it got more damage than Power Beyond, or is Power Beyond better since you spam like crazy? It depends on the build. Like I said, it is a pretty good mod, especially if you get like good enough rolls on it and everything like that. You absolutely can do some work with this, to the point that you can, because this goes off your crit damage modifier as well. This actually does some kind of insane damage to every single enemy that gets towed in. It depends on the build, because if you're towing enemies in for your explosive stacks, this is going to essentially wipe them out anyway, so you might as well just kind of go for that kind of route. If you're going for your Colossus fight, when it comes to like Firearms Master, you're going to be relying on this, and you kind of want to do as much damage with this like impacting as well, and that gets chucked into all your crit modifier. So Power Beyond once again is going to be probably your best kind of shout. And then Mega Man, you can probably get away with it. Like I said, the only thing that it just kind of slows you down to be able to throw this one out, because then you have to build up your 10 stacks of SPS again. So it's more comfort just kind of using Power Beyond here. But yes, you know, Blazing Zone would absolutely kind of work here as well. And then this one's just a mess about kind of like little thing that I'm trying out. But it kind of works there. But once again, you just kind of fall back on explosive stacks. I think it's more for the fact that you chuck out 4 nades, all with 2,455% modifier, and then you're putting 15% into every single one of those nades. So it's just one of those. Like I said, it can do work. I wouldn't worry about it, but yeah, it is there. I'm actually kind of curious if I want to try this out in Wall Crasher. I could just kill myself and activate my skill again, so I don't have to worry about the cooldown. Scrigged's here. Scrigged, hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by the stream. Do appreciate you. Thanks so much for just chatting in here. First time catching your stream. I'm a new player. Been using your Blair build this whole time. Been loving it. Thanks for the guides. Oh, you're absolutely welcome. I mean, it's comments like that make it absolutely worthwhile for me. So, you know, funnily enough, that's actually kind of made my day. So, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. Is it just Blair that you're currently using that you're interested in, or is it just one Blair build in specific? Like, because I'm thinking of redoing some, but I think he is a little bit behind the curve in terms of what we currently have access to. But I do love Blair that much that I'm willing to try out a few different builds and start making a few more build guides for him. So just kind of curious, are you like a backdraft player? Are you next level with the wave eruption kind of type thing? Or are you just like looking for Big Meat Blair, which was a fun little project that I decided to come up with, and it kind of works. So which kind of Blair build are you enjoying at the moment? I guess I'm going to do some testing in the next few days when I've got something to do, so I don't get bored. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, heck, that's the main way to play this game. That's why I don't understand people that have like mains, because I honestly get so bored if I just went round with one Descendant. It's so much more fun just to be able to kind of like mix things up and just mess about with it. So, um, it is what it is. I mean, heck, if I was playing this game constantly as Inez, like day in day out, for like 7 hours or whatever it is, I think I genuinely would get a little bit on the board side. But there's so many different builds out there, so many other that are viable and all that kind of thing. It's I mean, why would you? Why would you ever just stick with one? I guess. Now, it's been a while since I've tested this one out, but I do have a new Ancestor module, so let's see what we can do. So it's shoot, reload, roll, pop overclock, chuck nade, go to town, and then die, and then repeat. Some very shiny people. Reload. Whoop. Okay. Need to die. Please. Oh, it doesn't matter. What we got? I mean, that's respectable damage as Lepic in this, considering we've got Glaze in the lobby and everything like that. I'm happy with that. A max tech roll. And everything else is crap. Fantastic. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Yeah, I've just been using Wave Next Level Blair. It's been great for everything except bosses so far. I'd love to make Killer Recipe work, or maybe a different transmod to spice things up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, well, Killer Recipe was a lot of fun initially when it first came out with Ice Maiden. Unfortunately, it then just kind of like fell off, which is a bit of a shame. Because it's a lot of fun to be able to kind of like mess about with. But you gotta have 5 setups for this. But yeah, Killer Recipe does have promise if you do use Two-Face, I think, and Lucky Coin. But I found that even with like a decent-ish kind of like module for him, I probably will try. I don't know if I have one. No, no, no. That could possibly work. It's a shame that the skill cost, but the ratios probably would help out massively. I probably would keep an eye out for a double ratio in terms of dimension, fire, and crit damage. And there is every chance that that potentially could make this work, but it's oddly specific, and it's weird that we kind of need to rely on an Ancestor module to be able to make a build viable now again. But saying that, you know, absolutely could get this to work. It just might be a case of going like full DPS to be able to try and do it. That being said, you know, access to Two-Face is a really good thing for him. Like I said, Lucky Coin is actually pretty decent as well. Just is, yeah. It's I mean, when you start looking at it, it just kind of weirdly just falls back on Wave Eruption still being like the best way to be able to actually kind of use him, which is a bit of a shame. As for next level, obviously, high-powered Wave Release and Wave Eruption, fantastic. Classic, once again, it's all about setting up your flame zones to then go into Wave Eruption. It's weird how Wave Eruption is just such a good mod. It's easily like one of the top 3 trigger mods that exists in the game. And Blair gets access to it, and even then, Bunny still does better. What do you have access to? You have access to tactical strike. Oh, I see. Yeah, probably would go back to Two-Face once again. So, oh no, I went for Domino Drive because you have to manually put these down. That's why. So yeah, it does have some pretty decent builds, but it's just weird that how he currently is, he just feels a little bit behind the curve. Similar to like how Viesa does as well. Like Viesa has the damage, Blair has the damage as well. Viesa has the damage, but for some reason they're just both missing a couple of tools to just kind of like push them over the edge and make them actually a bit more viable in the current sandbox. But I've got my fingers crossed for him. I think he's a lot of fun to be able to play. You know, there's a reason why I sought out having this as my ancestor mod, and that's because that's what I wanted. You know, it's you know, I had to have my double red rolls for him. So fingers crossed we actually get another kind of round of buffs for him. Big Meat Blow is the goat. It was such a fun build to be able to put together. I absolutely loved it. It doesn't work without. I need to take Domino Drive off. It doesn't really work without Power Beyond, because you kind of do need that extra toe just to be able to bring them all into one location. But it was so funny as a build, and it was the only way to actually kind of make him work before Wave Eruption turned up on the field. Problem is I only have the overpowered descendants, so I'm used to the power they have, and if I play a weak or weaker one that doesn't one-tap everything, I get bored. I don't know why. That's fair enough. I personally view it as the, like, seeing as a challenge to be able to actually get through things. Like, for example, you could take... The reason why I made my next level build for Blair was because no one was really touching him, and the fact that I noticed that Burn Taste was an emission-based skill, and that, you know, I knew what Wave Eruption could actually do for Bunny, so it then encouraged me to be actually test it out and see what it could do for Blair. And I just instantly fell in love. I absolutely loved it. It just had to be done. And then I realised how strong it actually was. And yeah, it sped him up. It gave him damage reduction. It gave him basically some really nice quality of life. And it's just been fantastic for him ever since. So, but it's just finding those little niches that each descendant has, and then just kind of like going about it. But that's my job as a content creator, I suppose, just to be able to kind of get that all to work. Well, I need to get 0.4 second fast. I've got faith in you, Johnny. I feel like you can do it. So you know, I expect it done before the end of this evening. I've been stacking up on all sorts of ancestor mods for him too, with various stats just in case it can slot into new builds. I see. Hopefully, the devs buff will buff him in the future. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's not in a bad spot currently. You know, he's not in a you literally cannot play him. You know, you have to play other people or something like that. It's just, could he do with a little bit of an extra nudge? You know, even if it's just things like range, duration would be a huge thing for him. If we can get that duration pushed up from 4.5 seconds, so we can actually enjoy the end result of Wave Eruption, it would do huge things for him, because it would just offer so much more extra damage with all those max stacks right at the end of everything. Or this one up from 4 seconds. You know, if we push that closer to 7-8 seconds, yeah, Blair would be absolutely running wild with Wave Eruption. Yeah, just kind of crazy. But don't even need to see where I'm running into, because everything just dies in front of me. Absolutely. I mean, you know, you just point them in the direction of enemies. That's all you need to essentially do. You just put the wall of fire in front of you. What are they going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. The main ones that you need to focus on are the ones that have the little chevrons that tell you that they're elites, and you need to beat them before you can progress, and that way you know where they are. Blair is my fastest vessel clear, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of funny because I didn't invest that much into the 10 cats for everything, for the trigger. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Wave Eruption did so much for him that it genuinely is so much fun to be able to. And like I say, if you can get him to have extra duration, which is why I do have that, and you can start pushing this to like 7 seconds, anything over 5 seconds will be giving you max stacks of all this additional damage. And when you think that the skill power is 110 times, 110%, and that goes up to 25 stacks, so you were doing, wow, I did do the maths on this. It was something like, it was like 2,600 per tick per 0.2 seconds. Oh no, did it apply on? But did additional damage. So it was done to this. So it was every 0.25 seconds you were doing 2,600 ish modifier. That then got put into all your skill power that you had for your build, also into your crit damage. And because Blair was able to consistently crit, it was just insane amounts of damage. And that's why you can, in one single burst of this ability, he can take down the Sanctuary boss in solo in 7 seconds. Crazy. Like I said, he's got a soft spot for me, but I do think that Wave Eruption is hard carrying right now. And if it wasn't for that, yeah, it wouldn't be anywhere near as good. But it is what it is. Okay, now I get it if the goat believes me. I mean, if Ornery Biscuit, if Senevades, if Elisa, if all those goats, if they all believe in you, then absolutely. But I appreciate you trying to say it's from me. But no, I do believe you. I think you got this, Johnny. You understand the skill rotation. You've got all the maths behind it. I did that little spreadsheet for you. I think you've got this. I didn't even use high powered wave release. Didn't even know where I could swap it for, to be honest. So high powered wave release is there for is purely there for skill 3 because it is an emission based skill. But the reason why you would use this, and it's something that someone spotted out for me, you would use this for mobbing because you don't need to worry about hyperfocus. If you are going for bossing, you would swap this out for hyperfocus. But the reason why you would use this is that because it doesn't rely too much on the flame zones as such. So you can actually stack up additional critical hit rate as well as critical hit damage while your skill is active. So it just kind of like gets you to cap comfortably as well as boosts up your damage at the same time. So it's actually a really nice mod for that. It just consistently just gets you a little bit like an extra quality of life in a sense. And that's how we're able to get away with things like just front lines in terms of boosting up our crit rate. Hold on, I see you removed emergency measures. Do you run into crit issues? Absolutely not. That's why high-powered wave release comes in. So, for example, where are we? So our crit rate is 25.54. In terms of like arcade tuning, this is what I'm currently using. What was I doing that for? Oh yeah, that's right. I was trying to shred off all the resistances, everything like that. So this is big meat. That's why. It's alright. Don't mind me. There we go. So this is the correct one. Which arcade tune? There we go. That makes more sense. Go for the crit damage. So we're shredding resistance with this. We're going for crit here. But yeah, so you can see that we are at 25.54%. We'll get our 5 flame zones because we're just going to be running around. So we've got our 5. That puts us up to 63.85. I think this then shows it. Puts us up to 87.1. To be fair, that was a little bit lower than I can remember, but yeah, that was a tiny bit lower than I remembered. I could have sworn I pushed this over 90. But I am missing there. Let's see in there. If I go, because the duration things are doing basically nothing for us. There we go. What range does that put us at? That puts us there, so we're still at the thing. 3194. Try this again. There we go. 79.85, and then we cast this. There we go. That's how we did it. I must have messed around with my tree a little bit. Taking off those durations still puts me at 7.2 by the looks of things. Interesting. So, yeah. So that's how we get around it. It looks like I've messed around with my tree since I made the build, but yeah, that's essentially what we do. And then you can just fill out. There we go. and then once you defeat enemies, you get extra skill duration. There you go. So, I'll help us see what I can swap for. Fair enough. It's enough for me if you believe in me. I mean, I always believe in you, Johnny. I think you've got this, absolutely. And I expect you to be in the top 5 when I log into the game tomorrow. It's pretty good already, but there's so many damage instances for amazing. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, if you're trying to concentrate the purest amount of damage, Truly Deadly Arson is obviously going to be a stat stick. Because Combustion giving us continuous damage type skill, which is going to be our skill 3 with Wave Eruption. You can activate your skill 1, you can just go around in a circle, so you can concentrate all the fire instances on one location. This is if you're going into bossing, and then just cast this. And there you go. And essentially everything should be dead at that point. But let's let you go. We got to check if Johnny is telling the truth. Oh, there he is. Getting closer. I mean, that's painful. The difference there is painful. It's not even my time, and I feel pain for that one. I've been bumped to 60, but to be fair, I've not really bothered too much with this one. I do really want to do a run with... Do I want to do this now? Do I want to do this now? I'm a little tempted. I must admit, a little tempted. It's cowboy time. There we go. Feels weird that none of the kind of like the it's such a stupid helmet. For people that didn't actually get to see this, on Friday, we made the stupidest outfit that we possibly could for Kyle, and we turned him into a human torpedo with this look. It's so daft. It really is. So yeah, that's essentially Blair. Now I'm not fully convinced on Firebrand just yet. That can Kyle looks like a can of lentils. It's honestly some of the stupidest outfits I've ever put together. It really is. Like, it's no business being that chunky. And then still the sword on the back just in case. I probably could. To be fair, the sword is probably a little bit overkill. We could probably take that off. There we go. We'll put a little cactus on it now. No, we won't do that. What back attachments do we have? Solar panel, fantastic. That is exactly what he needs. An extra bomb? Why are they so small? There we go, we'll put the cat on the back. It's so stupid I might just do it. Oh wait, hold on. No, hold on, there was the hamster. There we go. It's powering him up. Obviously, we need some makeup. No. Oh. Oh, we can just make him a sheriff, because why not? Sorted. I just don't get this game. There we go. Right, that's enough Kyle for one day. I don't think there's any Kyle fans in the chat. Right, what else have we got on here? Tenat. Best skin in the game. Who needs to play as the females? Do you know what? I will quickly have a check of... Yeah, if I remember right... Have they fixed it? No, they fixed it now. Maybe it's just because of when it's half screen you can't do it. I was going to say they've broken Blair's search bar in the market, because it was almost impossible for me to be able to click on the boost ratios. Oh, well, that sucks. It's almost like no one's rolling Blair. Okay. Let's narrow it down. Well. Yep, just seems like no one in the market really cares for Blair. It's fine. Got an ancestor mod for Blair with red crit damage and dimension power boost ratio. Oh, would it be okay to replace focus on fire and emergency measures for high power wave release and maximize duration? That's, do you know what? Probably best if I pop back to him. Let's have a look. So, red crit damage and dimension. Would it be okay to replace focus on fire? I wouldn't replace focus on fire because the skill power is one of the most important things to be able to keep in any build when it comes to skill. So you absolutely do need to be able to keep that in. That being said, though, it would depend on what other mods you do have. Emergency measures you could replace with high power wave release. Oh yeah, there's no HP mods on it. There's no I don't need HP mods. We're all good. The idea is that because we're getting enough damage reduction from our gold rolls here for Wave Eruption, we don't need it. We're moving so fast, we're doing so much damage, we've got so much damage reduction, and the fact that you can go a little bit further with Deploy Hardened Shell, yeah, you don't need to worry about HP really. In fact, if you're worrying about HP at any point, you're probably doing something wrong with Blair. As for what you'd replace... See, now I don't have Maximized Duration, but to be fair, Maximized Duration would be a really nice mod to be able to have slotted in if you have the space. The problem is... you probably could get rid of Focus on Dimension for it, because you don't really need this on max cooldown. Just trying to think. So we go from a 7.2 to an 8.8. So that's like another 5 ticks of max ramp up. So actually, yeah, that probably would be best. You don't need to worry too much about the modifier loss because most of our damage is going to be coming from wave eruption. So yeah, so I'd probably go that kind of route. So you still have... so we'll be getting upwards, well, anywhere between 30 to 36 flame zones from... my god. Flame zones, Jesus Christ. 30 to 36% crit rate added on top of what we already have. I believe he has a 20% if I remember right, so that puts him up to 50 odd. Skill concentration, front lines is essentially all you need, with high-powered wave release, and then also your help from your arcade tuning, so you probably will need these nodes to be able to go through. But this gives you the most crit damage that you can get for, so I'd recommend going that kind of route. And then, yeah, maybe double durations probably is going to be the way forward. I think you probably could get away around that extra 1.6 seconds that we're going to go. But we can do a run at this, to be fair. We could test this out. I think this will be consistent enough. I don't think we need to worry about it. Yeah, I think his cooldowns are actually pretty good, since I don't actually want to cast his third too quicker else I miss a rave. Absolutely. So yeah, the cooldown of 3 seconds of it, yeah, is one there. So, to be fair, I think this cools down while it's active or something like that, if I remember right. I remember it not being actually an issue to be able to worry about too much. My question is, if I go that route, what does that put us up to? 9.1, so that gives us an extra tick. I do miss out on 25%. Skill 6.463. Oh, that's... I can't lose the crit rate. To be fair, if it's a quarter of 1, it's not really that big in terms of it. I think I'd rather the extra tick from... Yeah, I think I'd rather the extra tick. That should, in theory, be more damage. And saying that, we're going all the way down here for 37.5% when I could just grab these nodes here and actually have some extra to be able to put somewhere else. It's a tough call, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Nice player, yeah, although I don't play him, I know that duration crit damage is good. Yeah, so, I mean, to be completely honest with you, though, I thought, for the longest time, I genuinely had it in my head that duration, crit damage, and cooldown would actually be his best, but actually on reflection, I think it's going to be a boost ratio instead of cooldown, because that will also power up our wave eruption, that will power up the damage that's behind here, and it will help us open up some skill power buckets. So I think dimension ratio would actually be the better slotting instead of skill cooldown. So I'm happy to change my mind on that, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, no, I'm very happy with the Ancestor mod. I managed to get a really good deal on this, where like early days. So yeah, I was snapped this off the person's hand as soon as they told me how much it was. Kind of think any crit rate on my Ancestor to boost to 100? No, absolutely not. You don't need to worry about that too much. It's a tough call. By the way, do you stream on Twitch? Yeah, I'm currently live on Twitch. Currently do the cross multi-stream. So yeah, we're trying to push for affiliate over on that side of things. If you do want it, in fact, actually, we've got 9 viewers at the moment over there, which is actually quite nice to see. So if you do want it, there is the link right there. If you do want Because we always want to shout out for people over on the Discord. If you want to come chat with me over on there, more than happy to. Like I'm active in there daily, answering questions, checking up with how people are doing, all that kind of good stuff. If you want to come check out some people there and join a really nice community and everything like that, then absolutely we'd love to be able to have you over there. So feel free to click on that link right there. And then certainly I only have dog shit ancestor mods besides the mods I'm using. Have I got anything that I could potentially offer to you? The delay on Twitch is better. Yeah, I'm currently messing about with settings, to be completely honest with you, but YouTube is telling me that it is excellent at the moment, so it looks like it's solved the issue that I did initially have, which is fine. I'll quite happily take that, but yeah, feel free to catch me over on Twitch. Like I said, pushing for the affiliate. I think I'm one more stream away from potentially actually getting there. Since I've come back like last week, the support over there has been huge, so it really has been really nice to actually see. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the follow over there, Scrigan. But yeah, so we'll be on both for the time being. But yeah, let's see if we can. I do kind of want to keep hold of that one for the time being. If it helps at all, Kata, I can give you this one. It's quite a nice duration up, and it does give you fire, but obviously it's missing the crit damage. But I'd argue that those are probably the two most important stats. So if you haven't got anything, I'm more than happy to be able to share this out to you, and we can do this for cheap. But in the meantime, I might just give this a go. I might just I've got one more run of Sanctuary to sort out, so let's give this a go. Let's try this out. Oh, well, to be fair, ratios and duration will always make sense, especially if you're going for Wave Eruption, because you do need duration to really kind of make that shine. But once you do have duration on it, you have way more knowledge than I have. I mean, I've learned from I've learned from just messing about with things, to be completely honest with you. So, it just come with a. I set myself to try it out on Blair and just kind of like go from there. So, but yeah, in terms of the main stats you want, duration up is going to be the main key one. Oh god, this feels like it goes on for ages. Oh no, he's blocking me. Now, to be fair, I think as soon as this shield disappears... it might be okay. Yeah, it's always the shield that's the problem with that. Mhm. There we go. The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking maybe Slayer is actually going to give more damage, because that's also going to be skill power that goes into Wave Eruption. Into every single one of those stacks. So actually, this probably isn't the best. Well, this doesn't have Wave Eruption on. There we go. Now we do. This. Yeah, I think if you just got like a bit of a range buff, probably a little bit of a damage buff, to be fair. But Wave Eruption does a lot for him. Ooh. We'll see on the boss, I guess. And with time to spare. Come on, there we go. Yeah, happy with that. I mean, obviously you can get it faster with other descendants and all that kind of thing, but that's not too bad. 5 minutes. I expected him to be slower. What we got? For a time when I didn't have his stat stick yet, I found Shadow to be really good for spacing out with my spellcast to hit a Wave Eruption each time. It takes it to do a tap dash just enough, so press third act. That's not a bad shout, actually. I quite like that. I think that's pretty cool. Especially since Shadow is actually a pretty formidable weapon to use nowadays. Kata, I think I need to build the deadly arson weapon. Sounds like a nice damage buff. That's the thing, you don't actually need to build it. Well, you need to build it. You need to get it to max rank, but in terms of like actually putting catalysts in it, it's not needed at all. The only time you actually need to do that is if you're looking to be able to use him for abyss fights. So any kind of like bossing, then you will, because you need to worry about its crit rate. Because because this is the only stat stick that you can actually use for Blair. So you only need to worry about like getting max rank to be able to get the most skill power and all that kind of thing. Sorry, excuse me. Because essentially you need the copies and then the dupes with everything to do with this. You don't need to actually like maximize it out. But if you do maximize it out, then I would recommend something along this kind of lines, because it allows you to more effectively crit, which is perfect for hyper focus. So you want to go for better insight, you want to go for edging shot, you want to go for lethal finish, and you then want to avoid multi-hit chances and stuff like that that actually negatively affect your crit. But Brisk Walk is essentially the only mod that you actually do need to be able to slot in there, just because it helps you with movement speed. So, but yeah, essentially, Better Insight, Edging Shot, Lethal Finish, Brisk Walk are the only 4 mods that you do need. The rest are just to help it do a little bit more damage and stuff like that, but you're not really using it for damage, let's be honest here. Just noticed I don't even have like basic firearm damage on this. That's really interesting. For some reason I've just forgone the typical firearm stuff. No wonder it's hitting like a wet noodle in some cases. Ah well, that's fine. But yeah, I do think that potentially swapping this out for that is probably going to be more damage. I would expect it to be anyway. But yeah, that's fine. And then it just opens up skill power buckets. So yeah, we'll swap that with that. We'll put a catalyst in because I do want to. We do want to maximise them out a little bit more, so we'll probably go for. He's a crit. I suppose the more places that I could put crit stuff, the better. Yeah, for the 30 prints and stuff, so again, it's a max is not an issue. Fair enough. For Colossi and Wally, I use my Glaze, she just shreds. Yep, absolutely. I mean, Glaze probably one of the better ones to actually use right now with Blue Beetle. It's tough to actually kind of keep up with it. Most Wally fights now end in 25 seconds or less because of Glaze as we currently stand, so it's quite funny to see. Possible finally finished with Sigma for RK tuning. Which Descendant was that for? That wasn't Dire, was it? But I'm glad to hear that your pain has now finally finished. What's going on? What's with all this? So just loading notifications over on Discord. Thought I'd quickly have a check out of them. But so I think I might do the next Wall Crusher, and then we'll just call it for the night. So if you've got any questions, feel free to be able to pop them over right now. So probably looking at the next like 20 minutes, and then we'll probably just call it because I do have to get up for work in the morning. But no, it's been great. It's been great. Thank you all so much for sharing some time with me. I really do appreciate it. It's you've actually made the coming back to streaming like really nice to kind of enjoy and everything like that again. So thank you. Really does mean a lot. I think I could even use my Massacre build and still do a decent amount of damage. It's able to kill Walker in 40 seconds. I know slow, but my best so far. That's fine. I mean, to be fair, go for Massacre is interesting considering the setup it kind of requires to get to that point. But I've personally yet to give that a go. Sorry, I confused myself just for a second there. Yeah, no, I've not really given it a go myself, in all fairness, using Massacre. In fact, actually, I don't think I've used Glay against Walker at all. I've barely kind of farmed. You know, I did just enough to be able to get some of the costumes for like Dire and all that kind of thing, and I do need to go back and farm him a little bit more. But I've been just having too much fun trying to sort out builds. In fact, speaking of which, I've got to finish off the script for these 3 builds right here. So that will probably be out. I'm hoping tomorrow night. It's just been a bit of a long script to write. Where is it up to right now? I think I'm about halfway through, and I'm already at 2,500 words. So as you can imagine, this one's been a bit of a slog to get done. But I suppose that's what happens when you start covering 3 builds all in one video. So here's what it is. Question: Would you rather fight a Wall Crusher-sized rubber duck or 10,000 mini rubber ducks? Are they sentient rubber ducks? That's the main question. Like, if they're not sentient, then I'll probably take the 10,000 mini rubber ducks. Like, surely I'd be able to kick all of those away at some point. But if they're sentient, all like quantity surely is a bit on the scary side at that point. For Walker, it's really good if you have aim, so you can hit his eye thing. Fair enough. Yeah, I never really cared for outside of the beta. I never really cared for Massacre on Glay. I remember the original Massacre for Glay was insanely broken back in the beta, and then they realised that everyone abused the hell out of it. And then yeah, now we have the form that we have today. Could I drop my Ancestor mods in the Discord later and get some advice on which one would be better to use? Absolutely, of course you can. Yeah, if you've got any that you want to be able to sell, we do have a trading little bit over there as well. And if you're just looking for any kind of advice, we do have the TFD general chat as well. If you want my advice, feel free to be able to tag me. If you just want like generic advice, we do have quite a few members that are quite active, and they'll be able to help you out as well. So there's plenty of people to help you, even if it's at a time that I'm just asleep or something like that. But I'll always come back to you. It's just, you know, if I'm looking after kiddo, if I'm asleep, if I'm at work, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I'll always find time to be able to come back to it. So yeah, feel free. Absolutely, go for it. Yes, they're sentient and hungry. Oh dear. Whew. You're basically asking me, would I rather be eaten by one largemouth or 10,000 mini mouths? And I've got to be honest with you, none of those sound fun. But I feel like if it's just one largemouth, I might be able to actually kind of like dodge it a little bit, you know, by myself a little bit of time. Whereas 10,000 of them, there's only so many that I can just kind of like brush off me as all that kind of thing. That's, yeah, that's not going to end well for me, I don't think. I could drop in Discord if I'm awake, maybe a picture interest if you like. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm all for looking at some other builds. Yeah, I mean, heck, I'm all for learning new builds as well. So, yeah, feel free, absolutely. Yeah, that's what the Discord's there for. Go for it. You've got my blessing. Thank you for humouring me. You're my favourite parasocial. I'm all for the weird and wacky. I mean, you know, if you can't do things to be able to have a bit of a laugh, what's the point in doing things? So, it's yeah. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that'll do things just randomly in public, just because I don't know anyone that's around me. Like, if it's a town that I've never been to before, like, no, obviously, you know, law abiding and all that kind of thing. I'm not talking like just randomly smashing a window or anything like that. But you know, doing like something a little bit like weird, something that someone wouldn't expect and all that kind of thing, just purely to be able to humour someone that I'm with. Just because the people that are around me, they don't know me. They're never going to see me again. Why not? I went to a concert in Glastonbury with. She was my fiancée at the time. She's obviously now my wife. But when we went, it was just like a sit down concert, and the whole thing was just a bit like there was no energy and all that kind of thing. So randomly, when because Paloma Faith was playing, I just come back from the toilet, and instead of sitting down on the seat, I just started doing like a bit of a weird wacky dance, like a this kind of thing, just like having a really good time, making it look like trying to get people to dance kind of thing. And my wife just kind of looked at me and just went like a little bit in like shock and a little bit disgust, a little bit of mixture of the both, I think. But the person that was apparently sat next to the other side that I never got to see because I was only looking at my wife, he had like a mini heart attack in his chair. He was genuinely so shocked that he thought I was in like trouble or something like that. And I was just like, I'll happily laugh at something like that, you know. It's so stupid, but I don't know that person. I'm never going to see them again. It's given them something funny for them to be able to talk about and take home with them and have a fun little memory of things. So yeah, that's I don't mind doing that kind of like weird wacky stuff in public. It's all good fun. There's no harm in it, so what's the problem? But yeah. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to grab some shut-eye. Have a good one. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for stopping by. And yeah, absolutely. I'll catch you around in the Discord. So I really need to choose. I've started the evening with SMO. I'm going to finish the night with SMO. But no, have a good one yourself. And yeah, definitely catch you around. Next stream is going to be Friday. all being well, unless something else happens. Um, to stop me from being on, I guess. But I'm expecting to be on, so hopefully I'll catch you around on Friday. But yeah, thanks so much. Have yourself a nice evening. That's an amazing, interesting attitude towards life. Love that story. Well, I mean, it's all about like making some like fun little memories about it. There's no point just kind of like just sitting down and just enjoying the concerts and all that kind of thing. Like just do something a little bit fun, a little bit memorable, a little bit wacky, and that story will always stick with me because, you know, even though I'm the one that caused it, it was just something a little bit different. Um, but I can tie it back to a memory. It's daft little things like that. Like for example, we went to. I'll always remember going to Vegas with the wife because everyone in the family was expecting me to propose at the Grand Canyon because we booked an excursion. So they were like, oh, they're going there, he's gonna propose and all that kind of thing. And I specifically chose not to take the ring with me to be able to play into that attitude because everyone was expecting it, and I was like, well, if they're expecting it, then it's no longer a surprise. It's all, funnily enough, it's actually a good thing that I didn't do that because it turns out you're not actually allowed to take things like rings there because you have to leave all your valuables in a locker before you can go out on the bridge. So there's a fun little thing to add to it. But I then proposed at a time that she didn't expect it. She didn't see it coming, so. And it was more memorable. In fact, we actually had an audience, just randomly, the other side of a canal. It just it's little things like that. I mean, I get everyone's got their own opinion and all that kind of thing, but I don't mind making a fool of myself if it's people that I just don't know. So that was crazy mad lab behaviour. Well, like I said, it keeps things interesting. I honestly can't believe I've been sleeping on SMO this whole time. I don't know if it's just because the new mods or something. Ooh. I really hope they keep the time bomb aspect. When they do his ultimate. That's so good. It is a beautiful day for blowing stuff up, I swear. So have people got much on for the week? Is there any fun little things that people got going on that they're looking forward to or anything like that? I don't know if it's true, but isn't SMO the character with the strongest single target power? Whenever I used him, it deletes anything and everything. I believe that's the case in terms of like single damage instance, and I think that's because he's got a lot going for his kit, especially now. Because obviously it's all about stacking up and everything like that. Boom. Now, if I remember right, I might be able to get in the center of this and then trigger it. There we go. I mean, it's not quick, but it does have the power. But I think having a mixture of blast, which does a 90% damage increase per bomb up to 5, and combine that with chain reaction, doing each skill hit deals an additional 20% on top of that once you do have your domino drive going. And domino drive on top of that, being able to give you up to 42% fire skill power, but I only have up to 49, sorry. I've got up to 42. But yeah, his prep is the thing that holds him back. And the fact that he doesn't have a decent component set. The fact that we have to get away with this. Or Slayer. I mean, Slayer would make the most sense. We can go back to Slayer. Nope, that's the one. But yeah, it's the setup that's the problem. It's similar to like how Blair had that issue as well. Because Blair's whole thing was putting down the flame zones, and initially what he had to do was put down a flame zone, build up his skill power, then extinguish to be able to get skill power modifier, and then put flame zones back down because the extinguish took the zones away. I think if they refined it and all they essentially need to do, and like I said, I suppose it's going to probably be my first character that I'm going to talk about in terms of like red mods and things to be able to help him out and all that kind of thing. All they need to do is essentially change either a 1 or a 3, probably is 1, to be able to do spread. Similar to like how Lepic's explosive stacks chucks out multiple grenades. Make it so that it puts down more mines based on range, based on duration, based on... They could go for a number of things. I think range probably does make the most sense. But if they made it so that it goes from 1 to 3... every single skill cast, that would be a huge thing. That would build up the stack so much faster. It would cut down on time. It would do exactly what we're going to be doing anyway. And it just saves, like I say, a couple of skill casts. And I think if they did something along those lines, probably would be fine. Probably wouldn't need anything more. I think the skill cast time on Guided Landmine is way too long. There is such an insane delay between being able to cast both of these guided landmines that it's stupid. Explosive Evade is fine, but I feel like it just needs to be able to do a little bit more. It's a bit too basic for what it needs to do, but it is good. It's a solid red mod, but it needs to be able to do something a bit more. And the same with Creative Explosion. Creative Explosion is fantastic in terms of the cooldown, and it's really good for like burst damage and everything like that. But the fact that it really just decimates all of your stockpile means that you're back at square one, and you just can't do that. So he just needs to be looked at again. I think he does have a really good kit. It's just tedious to use, but yeah, crazy. Right, I'm gonna use this again. To be fair, I think. We'll go do Wall Crusher, and then we'll wrap it up for like 5 minutes, and then I can get myself off to bed. Latufi's here. Thank you so much for stopping by, Latufi. Appreciate you. Question: which gun is the fastest for melting HP bars for elites like the Scarab, and Breach Spreader for Glay with Predator Instincts? Okay. Well, what's everyone currently using with Glay? Blue Beetle's one of the main ones in terms of bossing, but that only kind of works because of weak points, so probably isn't going to be the best for that. But in terms of HP bars for elites like Scarab and Breach Spreader, I mean, Relic is always still going to be useful, but obviously that's probably more the mobbing side of things, which I think is probably what you're asking. Blast Dagger is always still going to be relevant, so you could get away with being able to use that. I'm trying to think what else do we have that's... I mean, Horror Nosel's not terrible, but I think it... Oh yeah, it's going to get all the HP added bonus, isn't it? So Hammer and Anvil's probably actually a decent shout. Just double checking before kind of finalise on that. I mean, Thunder Cage is probably still going to be up there as well. From what I've seen anyway, Thunder Cage is just a really good weapon to be able to use with Glaze. Additional crit rate boost and all that kind of thing. And if you go for sharp precision shot, you can just do some insane... Just hold down the trigger. Nothing's really going to kind of survive, especially things that are nearby as well. So, those are a few options. You know, some of those are relatively easy to be able to get hold of as well. But off the top of my head, that's probably the suggestions that I would probably give you. I mean, arguably, Thunder Cage is just so oppressive right now that it's probably going to be the best one to be able to do. 0.004 second fast. Go on, John, you still got this. You're learning. That's the important thing. $22 mil this crit's for. That's insane. Right, kill me. Kill me. Nope, you've killed the zone. Now I can't do anything. Honestly, you come in with a plan of dying, and you just can't even do that. Damn glaze. To be fair though, almost a bill. I'm very happy with that. Competing against Glaze like that, yeah, I'm very happy with that. If so yeah, we'll wrap it up for the last couple of minutes. So yeah, if you've got any questions for me, feel free to be able to pop them over to me now. Otherwise, we will wrap it up in the next 2 minutes. But yeah, if you think of anything while I'm off or anything like that, or if you just want to just catch me around in general, just to be able to have a chat, or even to help out with builds, or just even get the latest news as to what I'm currently testing and all that kind of thing, then the Discord is the best place to be able to catch me. Yeah, that's basically it. It's genuinely been an absolute pleasure having you all around here. So, if you need another copy of the link, I'm more than happy to be able to present that in the chats. In fact, do you know what? Screw it. It wasn't that long ago, but we will redo it. There we go. Sorted. Squiggle, thanks for the stream. Very informative. See you next time. Yeah, no problems at all. I mean, more than happy to always share knowledge that I come across, so there's no point in me keeping hold of it. I would be a very good content creator if I did that. No, appreciate it. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks so much for popping onto the Twitch as well, and popping into the Discord. And yeah, next stream is going to be Friday. It's going to be the exact same time, so hopefully I'll be able to capture on that one. Until then, yeah, have a nice rest of your week. And I'll probably just catch you on Discord as well, but still, have a nice rest of your week. Alright, well, it's got to 5 past. Not seeing any extra questions, so in that case, that's a good night from me. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Do really appreciate you spending some time out of your day with myself. Next stream is going to be 9 o'clock GMT on Friday, all being well. But I will keep everyone up to date over in the Discord, so make sure you're over there to be able to find out what's going on. But yeah, thank you all so much for stopping by. Thank you all so much for the support that you're showing me. Until then, keep yourself safe, keep yourselves well, and I'll see you all on our next video.